guys, what's going on? Happy Wednesday. Busy Wednesday here at Old Jazz Wealth in Florida. Just so you know, we're nowhere near the hurricane. It's windy. The power flickers a little bit. There's some rain, but really we're not in the way. Everybody in that panhandle area and above, they've got real problems today. So best wishes up there, but we're okay. No problems here. If you're watching us for the first time, my name is Dustin Tibbetts. I'm a financial advisor with Jazz Wealth. You can see it here in my fishing shirt today, just in case it gets a little wet. You know, you want to have your shirt ready. You never know. Any day could be a good day to go fishing, but we're financial advisors, SEC registered fiduciaries, and we manage our own portfolios. And we do this show basically just try to help you with your dough. One of the things I'm fascinated with is how people spend money, good, bad, or indifferent, you know, just how they go about it. I like studying that stuff and kind of seeing what's going on. Well, I thought I'd cover some of the headlines that are in the news recently here as far as the different financial tips, tricks, things like that that keep coming up. So if you're interested, we'll go through them. This will be pretty quick. We won't spend a lot of time on it, but hopefully it helps you in some way. And if it does, hit the subscribe button for us. That would be really, really cool. Okay, first thing, Sober October. So there's an article that says celebrities like Joe Rogan, Bert Kreischer, and Ron Funches, I don't know who that is, they have pledged to do 30 days sober in October. Sober October consists of not having any alcohol or drugs for 30 days. And that would be through the month of October. Although October's 31 days, so when do we start? The idea behind this, obviously, is just to kind of get attention to it. But financially, is it a good idea? Think of the money you'd save if you're an avid drinker, smoker, drug user of any kind. Think of the sort of the time that would save. So something to think about there. Also, money. So being sober in October, they did a study, and there was a lady. It wasn't a study; it was just an interview. And a lady said, "I saved $190." By not spending money on drugs and alcohol in September. And she said it was also the outside costs. So $190 just on the alcohol, but the outside costs like late night pizzas, cabs or Ubers home, and that hangover breakfast in the morning actually probably saved her more. So if you're a younger person, you drink a little bit. For the month of October, I know it's a little bit late, you have to spill into September, but hey, could you save some money by just not drinking? They say the U.S. alcohol market's worth about $58 billion a year, and women should have no more than 3 drinks on a single day, no more than 7 per week. Interesting. So if you do that rate, 2 $5 beers on the nights, that would cost $130 a month or $15.60 per year on a beer. According to the National Institute of Health. So that means, hey, if you and if you're a cocktail drinker, you could save $3,120 in a year. So pretty interesting. I know it's not really anything special there, but if you want to join the sort of the celebrities that are out there trying to get their alcohol straight. Me, I'm not really like an alcohol guy. No drugs I can think of or remember. No prescription drugs or anything for me. I'm a candy person, man. And if they made candy, like if they put the same stigma that they do on like pot as they did for candy, I'd be a druggie, man. I would just be like, you'd have no respect for me. I love candy, and occasionally I'll try not to spend money on it, but it's almost Halloween, so I got to get my costume ready, right? So I can go get more candy. I love candy. All right, let's move on. Next, 1 million people will default on their student loans. They did a survey here by the Urban Institute, a financial nonprofit institute. They did a survey going back, I believe, 10 years now. And 40% of student loan borrowers are going to default on their student loans by 2023, based on where they're at now. About 250,000 borrowers default on their federal student loans each quarter, with that increasing by 20,000 each quarter for those that already have rehabilitated student loans, meaning they're in some sort of forbearance or we'll go through that in a second. Now, they found that surprisingly, people that had smaller amounts of student loan debts are the higher likelihood of default. So by the end of the year, 1 million people will have defaulted on their student loans. That's crazy. Can we just fix this already? Like, there's some days where you turn on the TV and the stuff that they choose to argue about has no impact on the future of our country, right? And if I can use a quick example, you ever wonder why companies move a lot faster than the government? The government has unlimited spending power. Why shouldn't they be able to move faster than a company? It's because companies are ran for the goal of growing. If they don't grow, they don't get to continue. And so companies, you think about it, when there's a new initiative, you come up with something at work and you think, we should try it this way. They put some money behind it, you take a shot. If it doesn't work, either you're fired or they quit doing it, right? They just move on. They don't spend time arguing about dumb stuff in companies, well, most companies, public companies. So the government, I find it's just like, all we're talking about is garbage on TV. All the media wants to focus on is garbage. Nobody wants to talk about student loans. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that I have one choice when I pay my power bill. I got one company to use unless I want to go spend money on solar power. Nobody talks about the fact that every TV channel goes to commercial at the exact same time, and that's annoying. So let's focus on things that matter. One of them being student loans already. If 1 million people are going to default, that's horrible, horrible, horrible. Now, you do have choices with that. If you missed our latest video we did on the new 401k contribution, you can make a student loan payment as you are, go to your employer and tell them you made a student loan payment, and as long as it was enough, they will match your retirement in exchange for that. So that's sort of a way to kind of help that process, at least with the retirement side. You can do the income-driven repayment plans for your student loans. Know that you won't get any forgiveness there if you are on some sort of federal forgiveness program, if you're like a psychologist or dentist, things like that in underserved areas, things like that. You won't get any of that. You can focus on deferral, forbearance. You could try to refinance, but if those student loans are killing you, it's the worst kind of debt there is. There's just no way out of it. And without getting fired up, I'll move on. Okay, next, AdoBuddy. So I think this was NBC came out with a little article from a lady that what was her name here? Let's see if we can find someone. Shamara Lawrence, finding her financial buddy. So what happened was this person had a job. They thought they were doing well with their money. They got a raise. They started spending more money. Doesn't that happen, right? Does anybody do that? So you get a raise, you start spending more money. You get a raise, you start spending more money. It just never quits, right? You're never happy. So what this lady did is she said, I'm going to find someone to help me, right? I'm going to find a financial buddy that's going to be like a workout partner. You go to the gym, they push you to keep doing things. They are going to help you with your finances. And this is sort of obvious, but I never thought of it. Like, could you find a friend that would also help you with your money? Why not? Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. So it may seem obvious to you guys, but to me, do you talk to your friends about money? Does your best friend know everything about you financially? Any debts you have, any successes that you've had, any investments that you have? Does your friend know what you're doing? And to be honest, like the couple really close friends that I have, I'm sure they could guess, and I could certainly guess about them, but we've never really talked about it. And that's a shame, because the more you talk about it, the more you learn, right? There's no wrong way to do it unless you're losing. So to me, that makes great sense, right? You, just like a gym buddy will make sure you don't skip a workout when you don't feel like leaving your bed in the morning, a money buddy would motivate you to make sure you stay on track while you work towards hitting your certain financial benchmarks, like an emergency fund. I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. So I won't spend a lot of time on that. I just thought that was a really interesting thing that never occurred to me, right? Have a friend. Go about it. A spouse, maybe you guys are too emotional there, but a friend is going to be unemotional when they tell you, hey, stop that. You can't afford it. You're supposed to be saving. All right, and lastly, how much do rich people have in their savings account? We know that the bottom 20% of America has $0 in their savings account. They have no savings. We know that. We've done plenty of studies on this. Most of Americans, they say, have less than $5,000 in their savings account. If they have a retirement account, they tend to have more in a savings account. Those who are disciplined to invest for retirement also can put money away and tend to save money. A good example would be some of our customers. I'll never say any names, but we have some customers that cannot get their dough straight and are consistently pulling money out of their accounts, taking the penalty and all that stuff along the way. Although that's not what they're supposed to do, right? That's not what their account was for, and it just constantly costing them money. I'm not going to tell them no. I'm going to give them a hard time for it, but I'm not going to tell them no. They can't save money very well. There's always going to be some. But statistically, when you look at it, we did a whole video on this, those that save for retirement, either in a 401k, Roth IRA, whatever it may be, they also have a savings account of at least of $10,000 or less. But what about the rich people? So there was a study done here. Who did it? Kathleen Elkins did the study. How much do rich people have in savings? Well, they broke it down. They did got the FDIC all this information, blah, blah, blah. The top 1% has a median savings, maybe checking, savings, just general accounts that they have, of $1.3 million. The median was 1.3. The average of all households in the top 1% had $2.5 million as an average in savings alone. Does that sound like a lot? Because when I first looked at this, I thought, okay, 1.13 million for the top 1% though? The top 1% has pocket change in a savings account, right? It'd be the equivalent to us having like $1,300, us regular people, having like $1,300 in our savings account. It's not that much. Do you know why the wealthy people don't have money just sitting in a savings account? I'm sure you can figure it out, but the wealthy people know that the money needs to be working for them. It has to be in something, whether it's the real estate or the businesses they may own or whatever it is, their investments. They know the money's got to work. Through the up days and the down days, through the upturns in real estate and the downturns, through the upturns in the economic business cycle and the downturns, they know they got to have their money working for them. So after thinking about that and reading through this article, that makes perfect sense. That the wealthy know not to just let their money sit there. So yeah, they've got a little savings in there, which we would think is, of course, most people would think that's a lot in a savings account. But compared to their net worth, the top 1% now, we're not talking about everybody, top 1%. If you break it down to the top 10% of all of America's earners, they have a median savings account of $156,000. I think that's crazy, right? So it sounds like a lot. The top 10% of people in the world, these are going to be the big names you see on TV. The politicians now at this point, they make so much money. The business people that you see on TV, they've got $156,000 as a median savings amount in a savings account. Again, they know where the money should go. Now, as you work your way into that middle 50%, they have a median savings of $96,000. Think about that. 10%'s got $156,000, $96,000. So the financial wherewithal is starting to decrease, right? The top 1% knows, yeah, I need some cash for things that come up here and there, but really I've got money everywhere, so I could just take what I need. I'll keep a little cash in case my wife leaves me and I got to pay her off, right? They know to not leave a lot of money in savings. Now when you go to the top 10%, they get it too, right? $156,000 in their savings account. When you get to the middle portion of America, not America, middle portion of the high income earners, they've got $96,000. Now they've got too much probably relative to what they need. And as you work your way down, the top 20%, the 20 to 40 percentile, they've got an average of $26,000 in their savings account. So more of an emergency fund for those of us that need emergency funds. And then unfortunately, the bottom 20% of all of them have zero, right? So those are the people that just don't save at all. So it really shows how the wealthy have that knowledge to make their money work for them. And as you work down to those of us that are still working on our success, we're not putting the dollars in the most efficient place possible. So it's really at the pace you're going to go. But you'll get there. Oh, little lag. All right, well, we'll wrap it up there anyways. That's basically all I have for you anyways for the day. We will hopefully make it through. Like I said, it's not too bad here. The hurricane's just a little bit of wind, so maybe knocking us around a little bit. We'll be back at 5 o'clock, though, for the closing beat. I don't know if you happen to see the stock market today, but you're going to want to, hopefully we're able to do the closing beat today. It's one that we're going to want to review for sure. So enjoy. If I've helped you in some way, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate everything, and we will see you again at 5 o'clock for the stock market update. If you haven't seen the stock market today, you might want to take a quick look Don't freak out. Don't get scared. But take a look. It's a little bit red today. All right, we'll see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Service, our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.
Hey, wait! Before you go watch one of our other great videos, have you had a chance to see our new FinTips videos? They focus on one topic at a time, covering investing, personal finance, and anything that can quickly help you with your dough. Best of all,